Robert Griffin III, anxious to get back out on the field and show what he can do with that repaired ACL. It's twice now that he's torn his ACL. Once in college, didn't keep him from having a very successful college career and ultimately becoming the second overall pick in the 2012 draft. Joining us now to help us make sense of everything that's going on with RG3, the Washington Redskins, as they prepare for the season, our good friend Rich Tandler of CSNWashington.com. Rich, what do you make of this back and forth, the dueling press conferences between RG3 and Mike Shanahan about whether he'll play in the preseason?
Yeah, that was interesting because a few weeks ago, Robert, in one of his first or second press conference at training camp, said that he didn't really care about playing a preseason. Reports had come out that he wouldn't play. And he said, yeah, that's fine. It might be helpful, but no big deal. But then I think now that there was one on Thursday in Tennessee, and he felt like he needed to get in his, he put on the pads, had the helmet, just like he was going to play. And of course, he did not. He watched. He could have been dressed just like you and I were that on Thursday evening, and would have been just as effective. But and then I think he got that taste of competition, and saw what was going on. And then I think he came out of that wanting to play. But he was asked about it. He said he would like to, and was trying to convince the coach that he could. But then in one sentence, Mike pretty well shot down that possibility.
Is this a level of tension that may carry over into the regular season when Mike Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, tell RG3, here's what we want you to do, here's how we want you to handle running the football, and then he's out on the field and he's got the ball and he's going to do whatever he wants because he's fine, he's healthy, and he's in control of his situation? Do you see this continuing once he's on the field?
No, not really. I think now we're looking at, it's process. It's, kind of the sausage making almost, and we've got a front row seat to it. Ultimately, the other thing was 11 on 11 drills that they conflicted about. Robert came out in the morning, said he was going to be in 11 on 11 drills today, which is really the only aspect of practice that he has not participated in. And then Mike came out and said in the afternoon, no, that won't happen until Wednesday. So, but next week, is it really going to matter if RG3 played, got 11 on 11 a day later than he thought he might? I don't think so. The moment that third preseason game against the Bills is over, is it really going to matter if he played in it or not? No. What really matters is, and they are of the same mind, that they want Robert to be ready for that first game. And that's what Mike Shanahan said yesterday. That's what Robert said yesterday. That's the big picture thing that they're in accord on. I think he wants to protect him. So back to answering your original question, I think he wants to protect himself. I think he came out of that surgery, saw his family around him, saw, some of the members of the Redskins brass around him, and, decided that he needed to make sure that this doesn't happen to him again. I don't think that he will, cut off his nose to spite Coach Shanahan.
But how much of that is actually something you can do in the heat of the moment when you're on the field and you're relying on instinct and everything's moving quickly? You are who you are. Do you see RG3 changing his instincts, becoming more careful, sliding, getting out of bounds, avoiding the kind of contact that can get him injured?
I think he's going to try. Now, whether he can ultimately do it or not, we won't know until September 9th and possibly later. He didn't really put himself into danger, all 15 games he played last year. But we won't really know, that was it was, I think it was week 13 against Baltimore when he decided to cut back in the middle of the field instead of cutting to the sidelines. And he met Haloti Ngata, a big guy in the middle of the field, roaming about 15 yards downfield. I think that's where it hit him. Now, whether he learns from that or not, we could speculate about it all day long, and we don't know. But I don't think if he doesn't do it, I don't think it's going to have anything to do with spiting Coach Shanahan. I think he intends to. I think he wants to take better care of himself. And I don't think he's going to go out there and if he can do it, I don't think he's going to not do it because of this little conflict right now with Mike.
We're talking with Rich Tandler of CSN Washington, and in past years, owner Daniel Snyder has seemed to be more involved with the team. Does he have any role behind the scenes in trying to strike the right balance between protecting RG3 and also getting the most out of him on the field?
I think I heard you talking earlier. I think it's in his long-term interest to have Robert Griffin III be a member of the Washington Redskins for a very long time, and I'm sure he's made that clear to Mike Shanahan, probably through Bruce Allen. He's the word is that he's the kind of the buffer between the two when necessary. And so I'm sure it's been talked about, but I don't think, that Dan Snyder is in any way micromanaging this situation or anything like that, saying, hey, do play him in preseason games or don't play him in preseason games or anything like that. I don't see that. I don't see that happening that way.
The team was criticized initially for using a fourth-round pick on quarterback Kirk Cousins, praised when Cousins had to play and ultimately played well. Long term, he's under contract for 3 more years. Is there a point where the Redskins try to flip him and get a draft pick or 2 or more in return, or do they feel compelled to have this guy around for the full duration of his rookie contract because of RG3 and his style of play?
Well, I think they're going to keep him for at least 2 more years. His contract is up after the in 2016 after the 2015 season. In which case, he's almost certainly gonna want to go elsewhere and could do so without any compensation to the Redskins. So what I think they plan to do is, see what they can do as far as getting a replacement for Cousins, because I think you need to have I think with Robert, even if he does play it safe, even if he does slide and run out of bounds, he seems to be the kind of quarterback that, he's not going to be a Brett Favre. He's not going to be an Eli Manning who will never, ever, ever miss a game. I think you need to have a solid backup on that team, and Mike Shanahan knows that. So if they can come up with a reasonable alternative to Cousins sometime this year, or next year or the year after, I think they might look at trading him then. But I don't think, if they don't feel comfortable at the backup quarterback position, I don't think they'll hesitate to just burn off that final year of his contract and let him walk, and then deal with the backup quarterback situation then.
Great stuff, Rich. Thanks as always for your time. Enjoy the rest of the preseason, and we'll be talking to you down the road.
Okay, Mike. Thanks.
Rich Tandler, CSN Washington. Yeah, you have to keep Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins isn't going to like it. You have to keep him because you're not sure that RG3 can protect himself. And until you have another backup quarterback that you feel very good about saying, go ahead and play. RG3's coming out for a series. He's out for the rest of the game. He has a concussion. He has this. He has that. You had better feel good about your backup.